Hi all, I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for attending this masterclass, especially attending it for a second time. So first of all, I just want to start off with a big apologies for yesterday. There was an emergency, which meant that I literally had to leave about 15 minutes before the start of the class, and I was only able to tell you guys about it a couple of hours later. But once again, thank you all so much for coming today. I hope that you're excited for this class, and I hope that that you'll enjoy and find all the information useful. For starters, please feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat. Feel free to network in the chat as well, and I'll try to answer some of the questions maybe during the class and some of them afterwards as well. This webinar will altogether probably be about 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions you guys have. So we should be finished at about 6:45 UK, 6:15 UK time. I'm gonna start off with just a quick introduction over here about myself. My job so far has been, or my career has been very much in digital marketing. I've worked in digital marketing for a variety of companies and startups. I also started off my career as a film producer. I studied film and television production. I worked as a first AD and then as a producer. I then moved on to a career in marketing. That's where I felt like my passion really lied, and I developed some strong skills on, how to sell a product, how to sell a film, how to market yourself, or how to market a company. Those two things joined together, and I also became a crowdfunding coach. I had a couple of successful crowdfunding campaigns myself, and I coached some other filmmakers to do the same. And this also led me to actually create CineCircle, which is the company hosting this masterclass. And at CineCircle, we like to teach filmmakers the business side of the industry. So everything that we do at CineCircle, including our events, our online programs, our classes, is teaching filmmakers how can you actually monetize what for a lot of people is a hobby within the industry and turn it into a career or a business. So everything that we do is really focused on film funding, film distribution and marketing, and career development and client acquisition. And today we're going to be talking about how to best structure your film festival run so that you can have the highest chance of success, so that your film is seen as many people as possible, or so that you can accomplish some of the other goals that you might have during your film festival run. So, as an introduction, over the last few years at CineCircle, we've run a variety of interviews, with a variety of different experts, hosts, where we really tried to narrow down on what is the ideal film festival strategy. What are the key things to think about? What really matters when it comes to to picking your festivals, to applying to your festivals, to try and get the most out of your festival run, and to also not waste a ton of money. So for this, we interviewed experts such as the Film Festival Formula, the Film Festival Doctor, along with quite a few different film festival programmers and owners. So actual people who judge your films, people who own festivals, both short film festivals and feature film festivals. And we really try to get everyone's perspectives on what really works. We also interviewed producers and directors who actually had successful festival runs to really understand what works. This is going to be a very condensed version, trying to give you guys the most important information. If you'd like to see all of these different interviews that I've just mentioned over here, you can do so on CineCircle Pro. There's a link just below the video over here, if anyone is interested in more information about that. So let's start off with what you need to do before you start applying to festivals. And really, the very, very first step is to make sure that your film is actually ready for film festivals. And there's a lot of feedback that goes on over here. And it's extremely important to get feedback on your film. It's important to get feedback on your film in a way that's constructive. So, there's a couple of things to consider when you are getting feedback on your film. The first one is to get a lot of honest feedback. Like both the quality and the quantity really matters over here. So who should you ask for feedback? It needs to be a range of people. It needs to be people who are within the film industry, who are film people, who really understand how films are made. But it also needs to be people who, don't know anything about the film industry. Because, at the end of the day, a lot of your films might be seen by people who aren't necessarily filmmakers. They're just people who like to watch films. So you need to get feedback from both of those groups. And, the cliche that everyone always says, if you show your film to your mom, she's going to tell you it's incredible. You need to make sure that you get feedback from honest feedback from people who aren't just there to tell you what you want to hear. How should you ask for feedback? So this is quite important as well, because you can ask for general feedback, which is quite important. Just what did you think about the film? But I think you will probably want to ask very specific questions as well. So I would really recommend having specific feedback forms. Actually, asking people, what did you think about this character? Did you think the film was too long, too short? Asking, really guiding people specifically to give you those honest pieces of feedback. Where should you ask for feedback is another important question, because part of the feedback is, can be written. Someone can give you a piece of feedback. Someone can tell you, this is what I thought. But another really, really important way to collect feedback is to watch people watch your film. Set up a small screening, get 10 or 20 people in, and just see if you have a comedy and no one laughs, but then afterwards they tell you the film was actually pretty funny, still nobody laughed, right? You need to make sure that your film is scary if it's a horror film, is funny if it's a comedy, is, it's just invoking the right emotions from people. And the best way to get the most honest feedback there is to just set up a screening and watch people watch your film. If you're in London, you can, go to events such as the Cine short film open mic nights. They run normally once a month, where you can just submit your film. You can go in and you can watch the film and get feedback from people right then and there. Or you can set up screenings yourself. And then the other question is, when should you listen to feedback? And really here, the most important thing is, how consistent is the feedback that you're getting? If you watch a film, if people watch your film and, 10% of the people say it was too long, but no one else mentioned it, perhaps it's not that big of a deal. But if you're starting to see really, really consistent feedback saying, the film's too long, this character, was, getting a bit too much screen time, the actor wasn't very good, or, the lighting here wasn't great, then you know that you need to do something about it. So when should you listen to feedback? When it becomes consistent enough that you see a pattern. So that's just a little bit of a introduction on, making sure that your film is ready. And before I even get to picking your festivals, I think another really, really important thing to note when you're doing your festival run is, what do you want to get out of your festival run? Like, what is the actual goal? Because you can say, I want to get into as many festivals as possible. Okay, why? I want to win festivals. Okay, why? So I actually want you guys to just, if you can give me some answers in the chat for people who are looking to get into a festival, who are in the middle of their festival run or about to start their festival run. Can you give us some answers in the chat? I think that would be really helpful to say, what do you actually hope to achieve from your festival run? Why are you applying to festivals? Because your strategy might be very, very different if you are, you've created a passion short film about sort of the environment, or about mental health, or about a topic that you're really passionate about, and you just want as many people as possible to see it. Then your strategy might be very different to someone who has just made a feature film and their main goal is they've had private investors on that feature film and they need to sell that feature film and they need to make money back from that feature film. Those two people might have very different strategies when it comes to picking their festivals. So it'd be really interesting to see what you guys' main goals are when it comes to this. So let's discuss how to pick your festivals. We know that film festivals can be, it can be very expensive to actually, apply to festivals. Some of them charge quite high fees. And in general, you might need to apply to quite a lot of festivals in order to actually get admitted into one and definitely to win one. So it's important to pick the right festivals so that you don't waste your money. Both because you want to make sure that, if you're applying to Cannes, but you made a student short film, that's probably going to waste your money. No, definitely. You might have the most incredible film ever, but that might not be the best festival for your film. You might just be wasting that money. On the other hand, if you've, have a really, really incredible film and you just apply to some, small indie online festival that's running their first year, you might be wasting your money because you'll definitely get admitted, you will get into that festival, but it's not going to get you anything. So you need to make sure that you're picking the right festivals. And the best way to apply for film festivals at the moment is Film Freeway. It's an online platform, almost a marketplace for film festivals. And with a few exceptions, you will find nearly all film festivals on this platform. And you'll find that there are nearly 14,000 film festivals on there right now. So you're going to need to filter them, and you're going to need to filter them through, as a really strategic way, because this can really take a very, very long time. So I'm going to run through some steps over here to help you narrow down the festivals that you pick, to again make sure that you are actually picking the right ones. And just before I get into that, I want to go for some of the answers that you guys gave me for that question that I asked. Why are you really applying to film festivals? So Nick said validation, which is an interesting one. Getting those laurels on there, getting that validation that the film is good. But the question is, once you get that validation, what are you going to do with it? Is it to a proof of concept for another film? Is it something, what is the next step once you get that validation? To distribute the film, I think that's, if you're making a feature film, for most people, I think that's the biggest goal when it comes to film festivals, to get distribution deals, which is really important, and to overall make a living from this. So obviously film festivals can be a good way to try and get sales agents and distributors. So it can be a good way to actually, figure out to make enough money to live from this. Personally, I want to get out of film festival screenings is meeting like-minded film people who love my film, maybe a producer for my feature project. So this is another really, really important and key thing, which is film festivals can be a really great way to meet people, and we're going to talk about that as well, and actually form relationships for the future, both with other filmmakers, with distributors, with sales agents, with journalists, with people who can help you promote your film. So that's really, really important. So thank you all for giving those answers. So we start off when it comes to picking your festivals, the category. And this is the category, these are screenshots taken directly from Film Freeway. So for example, if you're a student, there's a specific student category. There's film festivals that cater specifically to students, which means that you're not going to be competing with people who have 30 years of experience and who have applied to thousands of festivals over the last 30 years, but you're going to be competing with other students. You can actually put music videos on to apply to film festivals. It can be feature films, it can be short films, it can be plays, it can be scripts on Film Freeway as well, but here we're going to be sticking really to that video format. So the first is going to be quite obvious. You just need to pick your category, whatever that is. Focus. So again, within those categories, you then still have a focus within the film, which is typically sort of around genre, but it can be around themes as well. So if your film is religious, or if your film is about a certain it's action, it's horror film, it's a film that's centered around like women having strong female characters or a strong female crew. The focus can be women, for example. So you can pick the right focus as well. It's a good way to narrow down. If you have a strong female cast, you might want to specifically apply to the festivals which focus on women, who are looking actively for those types of films. Region. That's another category where you can pick a specific country, you can pick a specific continent to filter through the festivals. And I would 100% start with your own country. So if you're based in the UK, if you're based in the US, just start with the US. I think this is really, really important. And again, from all the festival programmers that I spoke to, this is quite important as well, because first of all, if you've made a British film, if you're in the UK and you've made a British film, you're more likely to find your audience here. Unless your film is really, really specifically about a different culture, it's most likely been shot in the UK. It's most likely been with British cast, with British crew, perhaps a British writer. So you're the most likely to find the right audience for your film. You're most likely to find people who resonate with the way that your film came together, with the topics and the themes. And because of that, you statistically are more likely to be accepted. That's not the only reason, but that's part of the reason why statistically you are more likely to get accepted to a film festival in your own country than in a different country, which is why, to increase your chances, start off with festivals in your own country. Another reason is you're more likely to attend. And that's another reason why you're more likely to get accepted. This is positive for two reasons. The first, if you do not attend a festival where your film is admitted, you're unlikely to get much out of that festival. You might get a laurel, great, but it's attending the festival. It's doing a Q&A before your film. It's talking to all the other people that are there. That's what's going to get you the distribution deal. That's what's going to help you secure a sales agent. That's what's going to help you create a relationship with a journalist who will help you promote your film. That's what's going to help you find a producer for your next film. So you will likely get more out of the festival run if you're able to attend the event, and you're obviously more likely to attend the event if you don't need to pay for expensive flight tickets abroad. But second of all, film festival owners and programmers want the filmmakers to attend the event. They might say officially that it doesn't make a difference, but if someone is really unlikely to attend the event and they know that, they're less likely to pick that film, which is why there is always a little bit of a bias of picking films that are within your country, within your territory, because you're just more, the festival programmers will more likely get something out of you. And as I mentioned, you're more likely to get something out of the festival if you actually attend. So start off with your own region. Next, you need to think about your film festival tiers. And you have tier 1. These are your major film festivals, so Cannes, Toronto, etc. Right? These are the major film festivals. You then have mid-level festivals that are, they're recognized. There might be, BAFTA, BIFA qualifying festivals. There might be some Oscar qualifying festivals, but generally speaking, they're not the massive festivals that run over a couple of weeks and everyone who's within the film industry attends. In the mid-level festivals, you are unlikely to get massive kind of film markets with distributors, with sales agents, like you are in the tier 1 festivals. But the mid-level tier 2 festivals can still be really great festivals to attend, to submit your film to. And then you have tier 3 festivals, which positively speaking, they can be regional and very niche festivals, short film festivals, for example, specific horror short film festivals that are based in New York, or in Manchester. You have those very niche festivals, but also within that tier 3 fall the scams, the online festivals, the festivals where you're not really going to get much out of them. So the tier 3 festivals can be good for certain people, for certain films. There can be a way to start your festival journey, get admitted into some smaller festivals, and then move on to mid-level festivals. If you're a first-time filmmaker, or you've not won many awards in the past. But generally speaking, you want to try and aim for those mid-level festivals, especially if you've got a feature film, because you really want to make sure that there are some distributors there, that there are some sales agents there, that there's some way that you're going to be able to get your film noticed and potentially to sell it. We got a question from Nick. What does XXX qualifying mean? Make the film while you're waiting for a notification, then you won't quit. So essentially, BIFA qualifying, BAFTA qualifying, you have to get to into certain festivals in order to be considered, for example, for the BIFA, for the BAFTA. So this is your way into that journey. So there you can see that there's some films that are BIFA qualifying, or BAFTA qualifying, or Oscar qualifying. Those tend to be of a higher caliber than ones that are not, because they're the films that have been specifically kind of picked by these organizations, that they are good enough. The films that get into those festivals are good enough that they could be considered for a BAFTA or an Oscar. Okay. Next, what festivals should you aim for? So should you aim for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? For high caliber, slightly less known and more niche festivals? Which ones should you aim for? How do you know? And the only way really is experience, but you can fake it, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well. You can find ways, but experience. So a huge part of what, if you ever used, companies such as the Film Festival Formula, Film Festival Doctor, you will pay quite a lot of money. They're quite expensive, by the way, but they will help you figure out your film festival strategy. So they will help you figure out what film festivals you should apply for. And the reason why they can charge so much money is because they can save you so much money in submission fees. So once again, as I mentioned, submission fees can be really high for a lot of festivals. If you need to apply to 20, 30, 40 festivals to just get one admission, you could be paying thousands of pounds for that. So these companies, they will watch your film, and they watch hundreds of films from all festivals every single year. And therefore, they know what type of films get accepted into what festivals, what type of films win what festivals. They can see your film and they will just know right away, yeah, this film is not going to get into Cannes, this is not going to get into Sundance, this is not going to get into Toronto, don't even try. But this could be a perfect film for Exit 6 Short Film Festival. Or this could be a great film for the Manchester International Film Festival. Perfect, they love this kind of film. I've actually spoken to the owner of the Manchester Film Festival a few months ago. They said they specifically want more comedy films, and I think this would be great for that. Let's apply there. So they have that knowledge, they have that experience, and they can do that from that experience. But you can find a way to do that yourself as well. And the best way to find what films your festival would be perfect for is you do have to watch some films from other festivals. So pick some festivals that you think, this film, I think it would be good for this festival. Watch the last year's nominees. Watch their films. If it's a short film festival, it's likely that that short film a year later will be out somewhere on Vimeo or something like that, even for free, or you might be able to get it somewhere else online. But you can watch those films, watch the nominees, watch the winners. Find the perfect film that you find is really, really comparable to yours. So, if your film is a horror film, make sure to pick a horror film. If it's a short, pick a short film. if you've got, one actor in it that has played in some TV, but, is definitely not an A-lister, but has done some TV shows, some people recognize him, then find one where the actors are the same kind of caliber. If you're, a first-time director, find a film where it was also a first-time director. Find a film where, you see the cinematography is similar to yours, the length of the film is similar to yours. Pick a film that's as comparable to yours in as many ways as possible. And then either go on their social media, go on their website, just find their film, or even on IMDb, and just see what other nominations they received from what festivals. Follow that film's festival journey. And if it got admitted to 15 different festivals, those are your 15 festivals to start off with. Those are your perfect festivals. You can narrow that down even more and say, actually, 5 of those are in the US. I'm based in the UK. I can't afford flight tickets to the US, so I'm going to not apply to those. I'll apply to the 10 that are in the UK. And that is a really, really great way of, finding the perfect festivals for your film. It's really the best way, because if a film that's really comparable to yours got nominated, yours is quite likely to get nominated as well. Obviously, there is no guarantee. Every year is different. But you need to find films that are comparable to yours. It is also quite difficult to judge films and to compare them to yourselves, because you're always going to be a little bit biased as the filmmaker. So try and watch those films that you think are comparable to yours with a friend or with some other filmmaker who wasn't involved in the making of your film. And you can get their honest opinion of, actually, I do think their films had much better cinematography and much better acting because they had much more professional actors. Maybe let's, go for another film. But try to get that honest kind of opinion and find a film that's comparable to yours, follow their journey, and apply to those festivals. Next, you really want to filter through scams. Out of those 14,000 festivals, there are so many out there where the festival doesn't happen, where you apply and you never hear back, and no one ever hears back. So to avoid them, there's a couple of filters that you can put in. The first one is avoid online-only festivals. Those were okay during COVID because all film festivals went online only or hybrid. But at the moment, if a film festival can't, there's really no reason why the film festival would not have a in-person festival, unless it's the fact that they can't be bothered and they're just trying to get money out of you. Avoid festivals that have been running for less than 4 years is another good tip. If they've been running for less than 4 years, it's unlikely that they will have gained enough momentum that there will be serious distributors there, serious sales agents, serious reporters there. So probably avoid ones that have been running for less than 4 years. And again, you can see that very clearly on Film Freeway. And then finally, you can also see how many reviews the festival got on Film Freeway. So try to avoid one that have no reviews, very little reviews, or just really bad reviews, of course. For most of them, and if there's a festival that has been only running for 3 years, but they have 150 really great 5-star reviews, then that might be okay. So obviously, take all of this with a sort of pinch of salt and make sure that you think about it kind of holistically. But generally speaking, avoid these 3 categories. You can also use Film Freeway's specific filters. So when you go on Film Freeway, you can see different categories such as Academy Award and BAFTA Award qualifying festivals. You can see their top 100 festivals. You can see trending now, and so on. So you can filter through some of these and then find some really interesting festivals that that Film Freeway has put together. Next, let's talk about applying to festivals. So you found your perfect film festivals. What then? First of all, I would consider upgrading to Gold on Film Freeway. There is a monthly charge for it, but you can, if you're applying, depending on how many festivals you're planning to apply for, but if you have a budget of say, £1,000 to £2,000 to apply, or $1,000 to $2,000 to apply to festivals, you're likely to really get your money back on getting gold, because you can have some pretty significant discounts on all the different applications. A lot of the films, you can actually see which films by ticking gold in the on Film Freeway in the filters. You can actually see how many film festivals are sort of, you can actually get a discount for with your gold membership, and there's quite a lot. So I would consider getting this membership if you're planning on applying to quite a lot of festivals. If you're only applying for 3 or 4, maybe you won't necessarily get your money back, but with this monthly fee, I would consider it. So adding your project on Film Freeway. So over here, I want to point out a couple of things that I've interviewed quite a lot of programmers, quite a lot of festival marketing experts, quite a lot of producers, and I have gotten out the truth out of them a little bit, although they're always really, really reluctant to tell me. But your social media following and how active you are on social media, it matters. It does. They will say, obviously, that it doesn't, but it does. And there is one major reason for it. These film festivals, they're businesses. They're businesses that in most cases are trying to make a profit. They need to sell as many tickets for their festival as possible. They need to get as many people to go into the theater, sit down, and watch the films. And the truth is, if you've got a really high social media following and you've got a really engaged following, you will help them sell tickets. Now, if you've got a terrible film, that won't matter to them because they don't want a lot of people to see a terrible film at their film festival. But if your film is roughly the exact same as another film and they go, we just don't know which one to pick, they might pick the one with the higher social media following. They might pick the one with, where the person is just, the film producers are more active on their social media. So even if you only have a couple hundred followers, but they can see that you're constantly helping to promote the festivals, the screenings where your film is being seen by people, then they will go, okay, well, they're more likely to, to come to the festival. They're more likely to help us promote our festival. So let's go with them rather than the other film. So your social media following, that's something that you should try to be building. You should really try to be putting in, help promote the festivals, and that will help. One point on that as well is I would always, if you're a film producer or a director, or if you have a production company, I would set up one, social media account, one Instagram, one Facebook, one X account for your production company. Or if you're a director, for yourself as a director. Don't set a new Instagram up or a Facebook page up for every single film that you do, because every single time you'll be starting from scratch in terms of your following and your engagement. Here you can put down your production company, Instagram account and Twitter account. And if you've already made 10 or 15 films, you will have built up a following over time that will get better and better. So that will be my tip over here for social media. Next, credits. I would fill this out, but I would only focus on HODs. And maybe the main cast. I would make sure to try to put towards the top any of the more notable names that you might have, whether it's your cast or your crew, but definitely fill this out. And again, these are screenshots taken directly from Film Freeway, showing you the process that you will go through when you put your film onto Film Freeway. Screenings and distribution. You want to add this in and you want to update it every single time that, if you've got a sales agent, if you've got a distributor, if your film has been screened somewhere, it doesn't necessarily need to have won. Even if it was screened somewhere, put the name of the event. So again, if you're in the UK and you're in London and you want to screen your film at the Kino Short Film Open Mic, you pay £7, your film automatically gets in. You can screen your film there and you can put that in over here. If your film won an award or has been nominated for a film festival, you want to add that to this list. Again, for a lot of film festivals, this won't make a huge difference, but especially for the smaller niche festivals, it matters. Because for bigger film festivals, they have 10, 15 judges who are all watching the same film, who are all discussing the film. For smaller niche film festivals, especially short film festivals, you might have only 1 or 2 people who watch a film. and they'll always say, "I think it was good." Oh yeah, won a bunch of awards. It's good. Now, once again, ideally you want to avoid these types of film festivals, but this happens. So basically, to just increase your chances, anytime your film has been screened somewhere, anytime it's won an award, just add it to this list to make sure you keep it updated. And try and get your film screened in a few places, even if it's not film festivals. Maybe ones where there isn't a huge amount of competition. Again, like such as this open mic night. Next, you want to add an online screener. I would, keep the file size small, but obviously you want it to be in high definition. I would avoid putting in 4K files over here or anything, but just, your regular kind of 1080p. I would really recommend uploading the file and not adding a link to Vimeo, for example, because if you add the link to Vimeo and there's a password, there is just an increased chance that someone, for whatever reason, the password won't work. You might have added a typo over here, or the wrong link, or for whatever reason they click on. I used to run a film festival, and sometimes the link just didn't work. I would make every effort to contact the people and tell them about it. But there's just an increased possibility, not a huge one, but an increased possibility that people won't even watch your film because they won't be able to. And they might have hundreds of other films to watch, and they won't ever ask you for another link. So I would definitely upload the video file rather than adding a link where possible. Next. So in the last section over here, there's a couple of things that you want to add, which is director statements, still photos, your trailer for the film, your poster, and things like that. And the question that I've also asked nearly every single person that I've interviewed is, does this matter? Does the trailer matter? Does the poster matter? And the question that I've got is, for short films, the poster can matter, because if you've got a really, again, this is in a situation where there's between two films that are pretty much the same, the judges like them just about the same, but one short film has a good poster and one doesn't. They'll say, we'll be able to, again, sell more tickets with a better poster, so let's pick that one. So it can matter to that extent. Trailers. For short films, you probably don't need a trailer, but for a feature film, 100% it matters. They need a trailer. A festival will need a trailer to sell tickets for that festival, to sell tickets for that screening. They need a trailer. They need as much marketing material as possible to help promote, the sort of the festival through your film. So definitely add a trailer and make sure it's a good trailer for, if you're doing a feature film. And you also want to put any news and reviews into this section as well in the bottom right. Again, it's just another piece of credibility, another way that someone who's right on the fence between two films can make a decision based on something that technically they shouldn't be making a decision based on, but if they're completely 50-50, they might. Next. Getting the most out of your festival run, or once you get admitted into a festival, how can you get the most out of it? For both shorts and features, I would recommend, first of all, attending the festival. Bring your business cards and network as much as you can during those festivals. That is why they're there. It's a networking opportunity. Make yourself approachable, and I can't stress this enough. If you're at a networking part of a film festival and you're there with 4 other filmmakers that have worked on your film, and you're in a tight circle just talking to each other, no one's going to approach you. So make yourself approachable. Talk to other people. Make people know that you want to network. Next, stand out and make a splash. And this is sort of guerrilla marketing. You want your film, you want everyone to be talking about your film, you want everyone to be talking about you at that festival. So I'm going to give an example of this, where there was a film, was it Host, I believe, or it was from the producers of Host. It might have been another horror film, but they came to a film festival, and basically within the plot of the film, there was the fact that the characters would use salt to create a circle around them to protect them from certain demons and so on, and that was part of their horror film. And what they did when they were doing a Q&A, one of the director, came on stage, and he was doing a Q&A with a couple of other directors of the other films from that block. And everyone just sat down on their chairs, ready for the panel discussion. And this director came on with a bag of salt, and he did he created a circle out of the salt around his chair. And everyone just went, what the hell is he doing? Why is he doing that? The interviewer asked him about it, and then he started explaining why it's part of the film, and it's him here, keeping all the demons out and so on. That little stunt, which he actually asked beforehand, can I do this? Like, is it okay? You don't just want to, mess up someone's stage. But that little thing got everyone talking about this film for the rest of the festival. So, consider how you can make yourself seen, how you can make you or your film be the topic of conversation after the festival is over. And that comes to, promoting yourself, your film, and you can do that through these guerrilla marketing strategies. And then finally, think about your next project, because it's very easy to get wrapped up in your current project that you're trying to advertise. But, like someone mentioned, you could find the perfect producer for your next film. You might find the perfect sales agent for your next film. So already start thinking about your next project as well, because that can be very, very useful as well. And then specifically for feature films, I did some interviews with sales agents in the past, and they all mentioned that they really want to be contacted when you have just gotten your first festival premiere admission, but perhaps it hasn't been announced yet. So you got a private, invitation, but it hasn't officially been announced yet. That's when sales agents want to be contacted the most. So if you're in that situation, that's when you need to reach out to your sales agents. Also, reach out to press before the first festival. Once you've got, that first nomination, that is a good piece of news to reach out to press to. Put together a press release, reach out to them, and get some great press around your film, because that is awesome news for you. And that's awesome news for a lot of readers of the different, film publications. And then finally, really focus on finding distributors or sales agents at the event. Find a great sales agent, or, if you do, your sales agent might even be at the festival, but if they're not, you can help start conversations with distributors, because that is the number one thing that you want to do at that point for most people. Okay, guys, so we're coming to the end of the webinar now. I want to see whether you guys have any questions. Feel free to put those in the chat. Just while I'm waiting for those, I do want to let you guys know that, as I mentioned, if you want to see all the different interviews with festival programmers, with festival marketing experts, with successful film producers, and a lot more, then you can take a look at CineCircle Pro. The link is just below this video, and you guys can have a 1-month free subscription at the moment. You can get access to a lot of free and discounted tickets to a lot of our events. So we have an upcoming film and TV job fair where you can get 60% off. Next Monday, there is a crowdfunding workshop where you can get 100% off. You can pitch your film in 2 weeks' time to get £1,000 of film equipment hire. All of that for free as well with this subscription. There is a huge number of partner discounts, such as film festivals. So you guys can actually get up to 50% discounts on film festivals with that as well. And there's about 60 hours of different talks and classes as well. So if you guys are interested in that, once again, you can get 1 month free in the checkout if you use the code that's on screen or just below this video. Okay, so now let me just get to the questions, because I see that there is a couple over here. What if you showed up in character costume? I mean, 100%. I actually think that's a really good idea, and that's a pretty simple one as well, in a sense, to do. So I definitely think that that's a really great way to make a splash. Actually, I think it would be a great conversation starter, and it will make you seem very approachable for sure, because it shows you're confident, you're here to promote, you're here to talk. So based as a student that lives near the Orlando area, what would be the best festivals to start off in? So again, you want to pick films that are for students. So in Film Freeway, you want to click students as a film. You want to definitely go for films that are in the US. And then you can also pick, film festivals that are close to you. So those will be kind of the main things to start off. And then once again, find a film that's comparable to yours and find the festivals that they were in, around that area. And if we were to apply to Houston Horror Film Festival, for example, would it be worth it? I can't really say whether it would be worth it for you without seeing your film. But what I would say is watch some of their, the films that have been nominated or that won last year, and really honestly ask yourself, is my film comparable to theirs? Is my film as good as theirs or even better? And if the answer is I'm not sure or no, it's likely that the answer is no, and then it's likely that you need to pick another film festival. But I think you need to figure that out yourself depending on the quality of your film. As someone who has his own film festival, what was usually the most successful genre? So this is for me, as well as all the film festival programmers that I've spoken to. You always get the most drama. So those are, because in a way it's probably the easiest to put together. So there's always a huge amount of drama films. Horror films tend to do quite well as well, because it's quite clear, like especially, horror films travel across different countries. So if you have a horror film that's really, scary in the US, it's likely to also be scary in the UK. So horror films tend to do good as well. Comedies, there are never enough comedy films because it's such an incredibly hard genre to do. But if every single festival programmer says this, they all want to see more comedy films. They all want to see more good comedy films. So if you can, create a good comedy film, you're likely to right away stand out from the crowd, and you're likely to get picked, because that is a very difficult genre. But if you get it right, there won't be a huge amount of competition for you. Some suggest contacting sales agents, distributors at the very early stages of film productions. You can do, so you can contact some, you probably wouldn't be distributors. I would get in touch with sales agents, if anything, at the very early stages of your production. But I would do it, if there are some sales agents that will also consult on your film and other things. They would kind of become executive producers on your films. You can find certain agencies that do that. And then they can help you put together, sales estimates, things like that, when you're bringing on board actors, for example, for your film, and you're trying to sign them, or, things like that. It helps to have, sales estimates. So you can reach out to sales agents early. But getting a sales agent on board and actually, getting them, committed to your film before your film is finished is extremely rare. It's extremely rare. In the same way, pre-sale deals with distributors are extremely rare. Very, very rare. For indie filmmakers, nearly non-existent right now, because it's just such an incredibly high risk. So you can reach out to sales agents beforehand, but it's likely that you'll only get a confirmation once the film is done. But as I mentioned, most sales agents, yes, they like to be contacted right when you got that first film festival premiere. That's when you're most likely to have a very fruitful conversation with the sales agents. Before that, you might get a quick, yeah, we're interested, but let's see what happens when your film is done. So you can start to build a relationship with sales agents, but again, you're most likely to get, the most value for your time of emailing the sales agents at the point that you have your film festival premiere locked in. Okay. If there are no other questions, and if you guys do have any other questions, feel free to email us afterwards. But for now, this replay of this of this webinar will be right here on this link, so you guys will be able to rewatch it whenever you'd like. If you guys found it useful, I would just like to ask you guys of one small favor, which is just to leave us a Trustpilot review, mentioning that you saw this masterclass and just giving us your thoughts and feedback on it, because it really helps a lot. It really helps us, and it helps more people see the value of some of these free events. So I'm just going to post a link in the chat. But yeah, I would really, really appreciate it if you guys could leave us a very quick Trustpilot review if you can. It only takes about 10 seconds or so, and I would, really, really appreciate it. And finally, once again, apologies for yesterday and not being able to go through the webinar, but I'm so glad that many of you still attended today, and I hope that you found it useful. So thank you so much. And yeah, I hope to see you guys at some of our in-person events if you're based in London, or if you're based, in the US or somewhere else around the world. We do also have quite a lot of different online events. So yeah, I hope to see you at those as well. So thank you guys so much. I wish you all the best with your film festival journey and with your filmmaking journey as a whole. And let's keep in touch. So thank you so much, guys, and take care.